for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This land of ours is under attack. Time has come, we're gonna take it back. Just wait and see. Don't tread on me. I won't sit back, stand idly by. Watch the heart of my nation die. Oh, not me. Don't tread on me. Don't tread on my Bible, don't tread on my guns. Don't you tread on my faith in God's only Son. Don't tread on me. Don't tread on me.
Hey everybody, this is John Marietta, and I am the Hillbilly. And today's show is being brought to you by Monarch Windows and Doors, Mauser's Garage and Tire Center. And you know what? Check out Mauser's. It's like a hidden treasure in Fayette County. Them guys do a great job out there. Mung's Auto Body, PatriotsOnline.com, Fayette County Recovery Storage and U-Haul, Country Motor Sales, Gunslingers in Connersville, Tactical Civics, Auto Ordnance, The Ink Spot, Solid Foundation Ministries, New Life Free Methodist Church, Highline Motorsports, Gun Owners of America, Hillbilly Jon Radio, and John Marietta for We the People. It's Tuesday. It seems like it should be Thursday, but already, but it's Tuesday. We'll put I want to put a plug in there for Gino. He's the guy that owns Fayette Structures, and I'm sure that if he's still got some.
Oh yeah,
he's got a couple left.
We've got a few at the end of the year. We're clearing out for next year's inventory.
And I want to. Bud Krause is in the hospital, and I'll tell you what. Everybody say a prayer for him. He's getting along pretty good. But I want to start out with this. The phrase "faith of a mustard seed" is a metaphor from the Bible that refers to the idea that even a small amount of faith can have a big impact. Truly, I tell you, if you have the faith as small as a mustard seed, you can say to the mountain, "Move from here to there," and it will move. Nothing will be impossible for you. That's Luke 17:5-10. And I got this sent over to me today. Both faith and fear demand you to believe in something you can't see, but you must choose. Got something else that came to me. It got sent to me today, and I'll tell you what. This is it come from the Samuel Adams of Fayette County, and I'm going to read this. This is really good. As a kid growing up in a suburban home in mid-America, I was raised to believe that good people follow the rules, hard work, and are rewarded for their diligence and for their support of the rule of law. My family was made up of a mix of Republicans and Democrats, with most of us falling somewhere more on the conservative side of the spectrum. I believe that the Republican Party, the party of law and order, was the more legitimate of the two political parties because of their constant discussion of ethical, moral value. Granted, I grew up in a time where Republicans and Democrats could sit across the table from one another and debate issues based on the merits of their position. And even when common ground couldn't be found, the people sitting at the table could agree to disagree without hatred or the desire to assassinate the character of the person sitting across from them. The past decade was one of lawlessness, the debasement of the value of human life and basic decency, and the destruction of the beauty and uniqueness inherited to men and women. My exposure to local politics has taught me that politicians only follow the rules as long as they serve their purpose, or as long as they are in the limelight, where their morality is based on their perceived compliance with the rules they set for themselves, rather than a foundational motive of how they treat their fellow human beings, both of which they ignore at the drop of a hat. At this point, I think most people are ready to flip the tables on their respective parties and bring an end to the charade that has become American politics. Drunkards and con artists, domestic abusers, and corporate shills. These seem to be the characteristics that define the typical political figures as they wring their last dollars from the American people. See, this guy must know the Fayette County Commissioners. from the local level on up. Oh, wait, here we go. Commissioners that cut ribbons rather than red tape. Court systems that prop up the status quo, and political parties that tell you that these are the best candidates that we have to offer, while parading the same tired mantras they haven't believed in for 50 years, or at least in my lifetime. The people should not be afraid of their government. Their government should be afraid of the people. I don't think that politicians should count on the continued good nature and self-restraint by the people whose future and tax dollars they have stolen. And it's signed Sam Adams of Fayette County. I thought that was pretty good.
I particularly like the line about they cut ribbons instead of red tape.
and he said,
yeah, I like that.
Yeah, and how many of them do we know that are drunkards, con artists, domestic abusers, and corporate shills? Think about this. So today was a busy day at the Fayette County Courthouse.
Yes, it was.
And all three of us were there.
That's right.
For the agenda meeting for the county commissioners.
All three of us spoke.
And all three of us had something to say, much to the chagrin of two of the county commissioners anyways.
Well, let's explain, in case people don't understand. So what an agenda meeting is, this is the meeting, there's a commissioners meeting coming up on Thursday, and today they're holding what's called an agenda meeting where they release kind of officially to the public, hey, this is the subject matter of the meeting, and to try to get some kind of structure to their meeting on Thursday. And I got to say, John, some of the items we were most concerned about were under the commissioners unit was they're considering placing on the agenda the adoption of a 2025 general fund budget. And we wanted some clarification, which we did get.
A little bit.
Is it going to be the budget you've been, you put up on the website? Because the way it's worded, they could easily slide another budget in there. And I asked for some clarification. And then the other item was consider placing on the agenda the adoption of an ordinance establishing the real estate tax rates for the general purposes and debt services for the tax year of 2025. And we asked that they be more specific. So the Pennsylvania sunshine laws require that they give specific information. What is the rate? What are the terms of a loan? Interest rate, things like that. So hopefully we'll get that at the last minute. But as of right now, they're proposing the 1.9 mil increase. And when we say 1.9, people need to understand that what that's actually representing is a pretty big jump in the in our taxable rate. So if you take I think we're at 6.1 or 2 mils now. I'm sorry, it's 6.7. And then 1.9, it ends up working out when you work the math out. It's a 28% increase. They don't want to say it that way because that sounds too drastic, but that's actually what they're proposing is a 20% increase in our county taxes. And there were quite a few people there today, even other than us three, there were a few people there that spoke and said, we just can't afford an extra 28%. They haven't explained why they need it specifically or where it's going. It's like a mystery.
I asked that question. I said, are we going to have transparency on what we're going to spend this money for? What a lot of people don't understand is we can go back on this a little bit, Gino, and you understand this. But 2 years ago, it was $7.5 million that they borrowed, and I might be off on the number a little bit, but it was $7.5 million that they borrowed for the trans loan. They couldn't afford to pay it, so come November, they borrowed money to pay the loan off.
They were defaulting, but the bank doesn't want to call it a default, so they let them restructure.
Yeah, they let them restructure.
And of course, they paid a huge a huge penalty for that. It was very substantial.
So then last year, they come the election's up, the money's due. Gino and I are screaming about they don't have the money to pay this trans loan off, and
they didn't.
And they didn't. But they didn't want to tell nobody that. We kept telling them they're going to have to raise taxes to make everything viable in the county. I mean, that's just the easy way to put it. Well, they borrowed $9.5 million. Then they come back in the spring, and they borrowed $4.5 million with the infrastructure bank. Okay, now. They
getting penalized all along the way, making interest payments on these huge amounts of money.
And now they're borrowing or doing a bond buy. We haven't got the specifics. They're not being real specific about it. We do know that we're pretty sure First National Bank is the one that's going to lend them the money or do however they're going to
up to $15 million.
Up to $15 million. So I asked them today, did you get the loan? And they said, Scott Dunn said, yes.
He said yes.
And I said, you got the loan? And he said, yes. Well, I think that there's something going on here, because I think what has to happen is they have to get this passed Thursday in order to make sure the loan is finalized.
Also,
I think,
so the theory is we're thinking that they need to show the bank that, hey, we'll raise the taxes to pay you the money.
Yeah.
Because if they couldn't stay within budget last year, what bank would loan them money if they can't, if they're not going to raise taxes?
That sounds right to me.
So now what they're going to do is, and Gino White was with me, that they talked about doing a pay down loan, and let's all face it, they're going to borrow. They're going to use all 15 and a half.
These commissioners have proven, beyond a shadow of a doubt, time and time and time and time again, that they can't manage money. They just can't do it. So we have created an infrastructure that's going to continue to raise taxes. There's been no allocation for. This expansion of government that they went on, buying these buildings, additional parking lots. I tell you what, and they're putting some things out to bid, but let's be honest, they're not getting a lot of bidders because they don't pay the contractors. That's another problem we have.
Yes.
A lot of these contractors don't want to bid jobs, or they bid them extra high because they know the county's going to be slow to pay. It's going to be a hassle. We know contractors now on big jobs with the county haven't gotten paid, and they said, well, they put that into their bid. Hey, it's going to be a big problem, so they jacked the bid up.
This is a silly question, but what happened to all that COVID?
Well, we know
Money
this is one of the things that I want.
They were drunk on spending with that COVID money, unfortunately. I think that was part of the problem. They spent that money like drunken sailors.
But at the time we got that money, they were supposed to increase, because people were having to come to work, especially the 911 people.
Yeah.
They were supposed to get a $5 an hour raise. Well, they never got the $5 an hour raise, and we're trying to figure out where the money went. They got the money for it, but that we don't know where the money went.
Because a lot of that COVID money went for 9/11.
Whatever happened with the gambling money from up on the mountain? That was supposed to go to reduce taxes, and here we got all the school boards raising taxes. The commissioners are raising taxes. Whatever happened to all that money? Let's look into that too. It's these guys burn through money. It's just crazy. But the scary part is there's no plan to reduce taxes in the future. So we've got a county that's shrinking. We've got businesses leaving, and we got some layoffs happening.
Older population.
And see, that's other things. So these tax increases, it's going to sting me a little bit, a couple extra $100 a year. But what about the people on a fixed income that don't have the ability? You know what you're stealing from them? You're stealing just maybe money they need for medicine or whatever.
How about the people that are in business? That this is going to increase their. I mean, if you have a business, more than likely the business property you have is worth $250,000, maybe even $400,000. Okay, now you're going to say, well, they can just charge more. Well, that's inflation. That's a hidden inflation. We just went through 4 years of this, and Melanie said it really well at the commissioners meeting. We just got a new president elected. That he's going back to get the Ronald Reagan tax cut.
He clearly campaigned on cuts.
And now we got two commissioners definitely that want to raise taxes on the people of Fayette County. Think about what I'm saying. They definitely want to raise taxes on the people of Fayette County. And one of them identifies himself as a Reagan Republican. And I'm thinking to myself, Reagan
would never do it.
Rolling in his grave
He would never want to be able to raise taxes.
He made a lot of cuts, and some of them were painful, right? And people complained about them on the Democrat side. And it's just we're at a place we have to cut. If we don't cut, it's so irresponsible of leadership to just keep kicking the can down the road, just squeezing everybody a little bit more without any plan to make any sizable cuts. They've went the other way. They've built in the last 10 years, our commissioners have built an infrastructure that it's dependent on higher taxes. No long-term vision at all for the county. And everybody sees, anyone can look around and see what's happening.
I say I was looking at the declining population of Fayette County for 12 years, and the fastest growing decline is the 35 to 49-year-old age group, is the largest group that's leaving. And why
Our
is that?
seniors are staying.
And the
They're
seniors
leaving
are
for
staying, or they're
opportunities.
turning to 65. Yeah, they're leaving for other opportunities. They're leaving Fayette County when the state of Pennsylvania has generally seen a small increase. We in Fayette County, and that's been going on. We've not had an increase in 12 years.
If we
Every
look-
year has been a decrease.
If we look at the communities around Fayette County, they have the highest tax rates.
Yeah.
You know, you look at Brownsville, and you look at Uniontown City. You know, what's happening there? Those are, I would argue, are not the most desirable places in the county to live, and they have the biggest financial challenges. And they're going to just keep this raising taxes don't work. I mean, look at Brownsville. It's you know, we all grew up with this, right? I believe all three commissioners were born and raised in Fayette, as was I, and John, you were too, right? Mm-hmm. So we've only ever seen a declining county. I have a great tradition. Every Saturday I have breakfast with some older fellows. One was Carmen Molinare, past commissioner, Ambrosini, and then Harry Cochran. These guys have been around. And, you know, to hear the stories of what Fayette County used to be, I mean, it's got to be sad for those guys some point to see that, you know, we're on this continued decline. And with that decline, the government's bigger than it was when those guys were involved. So we have got to trim, we've got to trim this government down, or it's going to get trimmed down arbitrarily, you know, without any kind of
and like I said at the
leadership.
Meeting, it's not. No matter what anybody wants to say, they can try to put it. It's not the row offices in the county that's causing the problem.
No, they're all doing cuts. It's really impressive.
It's everything that the county commissioners, at least two of them, are about. You think about it, and then I was sitting there and I got a message.
Well, John,
from
they've got to own it. These commissioners have been now in for a decade.
Yeah.
You know, these aren't, and I'm really shocked by the Republican Commissioner Scott Dunn, who, you know, back in 2020 is quoted in a newspaper article stating he's trying to get rid of the Tran. I mean, am I missing something, or isn't the Republican mantra cut?
Well,
you know, conservative spending. What has happened? You know, and I know we've got criticized a little bit that we're against, you know, services and trails. I'm not against getting any kind of free government money we can, but what happens is we've got a county government focused on chasing these federal grants to a point that, you know, that costs money to go after those grants. And we get some, and that's great, but we got to balance that with what the focus really needs to be on cutting the government, being more efficient. You got to get rid of these political lackeys. I'm going to say they got political hacks all over the county. You know, these jobs, they're not carrying their weight. Yeah. Those jobs need cut. And, you know, do we need 3 full-time commissioners? Maybe they need to really do the right thing and look at, you know, restructuring the whole government. You know, do we need all the row officers?
We talked about this.
You know, they need to look at, they have to be realistic. This county's not grown. They've done nothing to grow it. Everything they've touched turned to mud. The jail was a good example. You had one commissioner was designing a jail that would have paid its own way and maybe even generate some income. Now we have a jail that keeps costing us money, and their own management.
It's going to cost us another $1 million next year.
Yeah, the jail thing was so out of hand. They cut that ribbon, you know, 8 months early just to get a cheap, just to get a cheap photo op, which whatever they can do that. I guess
Somebody paid for that whole party they had out there.
But even forget that, they didn't get the jail done. We made like 8-9 months of interest only payments of hundreds of thousands of dollars.
We were supposed to get a
animal
shelter too.
And we didn't get there never was going to be an animal shelter. That was just a big scam. You know, and it's just you know, it's just all political puffery. You know, where's the results? A good tree produces good fruit.
Were any of them ever,
right? Where's the good fruit?
Were any of them ever businessmen? Because that's what I like about Trump. He's a businessman in office. He doesn't play politics at all.
I'll be honest. Yes, you don't have to be a businessman. Anyone can they add? Can they handle money in their own life? We know one of the commissioners cannot. You know, Commissioner Vasides filed personal bankruptcy while he was a sitting commissioner. You know, and people get in trouble and stuff, but, you know, I don't want you handling my money if you file bankruptcy.
Yeah, people do that, but you're not running the county
budget. And style of leadership. He's been around 30 years. What has it gotten us?
Yeah.
We got to go in a different direction.
Yeah, to be
and I
different
really
is-
expected more from Scott Dunn and Dave Lore, frankly. I'm glad he's voting no on this upcoming budget. And but
hope he
you know,
stays that way.
well, you hope he stays that way. But look, he has to own all this spending too, this massive amount of spending that we've had, and this mishandling, and you know. And some of these political hires, which we're going to get into some of them after the first of the year. Right now, people, get to the meeting on Thursday if you can.
10 a.m.
10 a.m., Gallatin Bank Building.
Have the commissioners taken a tax cut? Are they going to get their increase?
No, they're of course they're going to get it.
Freezing it?
No, they're nothing in that budget says any kind of freeze on wages at all.
Nothing.
And in fact, they voted, and at any time they can
that,
opt
right?
out of this automatic. You know, they get an automatic increase. Isn't that, John? The commissioners
It's 3%. It's 3% across the board.
they vote for it in an off-election year. They have to vote in an evening meeting, which they did, which nobody attended. You know, when they did it, it was Halloween of, I think 2 years ago. But the thing is, they can opt out at any time they want. You know, the other thing is we've got 3 commissioners, each making in a ballpark of $80,000 a year plus different amounts because of how long they've been there. We got their assistants, and we got assistants for their assistants. I mean, who is answering the phone up there? I worked as assistant up there, where there was 2 of us. Phone doesn't ring that often. I mean, what are they writing down?
Yeah.
You've got 3 commissioners. They're required by they're required by statute to be there 30 some hours a week. You know, so you got 90 hours that they each owe us 30. They can't coordinate their schedules and make some cuts there.
Yeah.
It'd be different if things were booming in Fayette County. I'd say we need them.
Yep.
Look at
Yep.
Butler County. You know, they need to go up to Butler County and sit down with those commissioners. I mean, they're building schools up there. There's subdivisions going on up there. Friends of mine in the
growth up there.
friends of mine that are in
one of the
the
things
structure business are growing up there.
I got a message. This is getting off a little bit, but I got a message from somebody. All the new developments, not in Butler County, but I'm wanting to say it was Lycoming County, but I might have that wrong. But anytime you have a new development, it has to have its own electricity. Has to be able to have its own electricity.
They have to pay their own infrastructure.
They have to have their own sewage. Wait a minute, their own sewage. That don't mean they call up if they build a subdivision and they call up Cornersville sewage department or Uniontown sewage department. Hey, we're going to want to tap in. No, they have to have their own. And
Our county is suggesting that we will subsidize developers, like in Gans, for instance, to put in housing developments that aren't going to be self-sustained. They're going to be subsidized.
We can't even get.
We can't subsidize these people. We are already subsidizing Japanese solar over, and we're already subsidizing. I don't know what that giant building is over there that they built, 65,000
I
square
just
feet.
figured they were going to bring a football team to Fayette County and they were going to practice in it.
Practice indoors. I mean, it's
That's
just
what I thought.
insane.
That's how big they
It's
get.
you know, look, we
You
don't.
could actually punt the ball in there.
And it's empty. There's no.
It's
rooms
completely
or
empty.
anything.
Empty.
So the idea is, if they build it, they will come. Okay, so let's say a factory does come there. Where are the workers going to come? They're just going to steal workers from everybody else that's already is struggling to maintain their workforce. You're just going to move things around, you know.
I know.
And but that's not any new money for the county. We're on a bad runaway train, a 28% increase, folks.
Well, they
And that's just the county. On top, what the county has done, their poor management, not showing up, not doing their job. They got all these school boards in a very precarious situation.
they do.
Every school board
do.
is set to raise taxes, in part because the county hasn't released funds they collected from tax sales for years. So you got school boards that are up against it. You've got problems now. You know, each school board is going to be different. It's going to have its own unique problems. But right now, the commissioners are just blowing things up. These red herrings, creating these smoke screens. That's why they say 1.9 mil. Some people think that that's 1.9%. It isn't. It's 28%.
Wow.
It's 28% is what it ends up being.
One of the things that I was wanting, and I don't know, maybe you could explain it to me, Gino. They're going to get a grant for $540,000 to expand the sheepskin trail. It looked like. Okay, now I know that's grant money.
Right.
But on the bottom of that, was that part of that money going to the bridges and things in Fayette County? Is that part of what the money was for?
No, well, they had different line items, and our grant writer Art Capella's working on different things, and he's going to work on whatever he's assigned to by the commissioners. And I'm glad, like I said, get all the free trails are nice. They're not an economic driver. The whole trail thing is we're working on this. First off, they're not working on trails. The Sheepskin Trail should have been built 15 years ago.
Well, you can't have all them ribbon cuttings if you.
No, they want to build it a few miles at a time so they can have a little party each time.
Yeah.
That Sheepskin should have been done. Well, guess what? The bike boom. I mean, there's always going to be a certain amount of people who want to ride bikes. But I was just on the Great Allegheny Passage this past fall, and it's not as busy as it was pre-COVID, and a lot of those businesses are closed at the other end. So while it is a viable, nice thing, as more and more trails come online, the amount of bikers are just getting diluted. You're just going to dilute the money around. You're just moving grant dollars. We've got to break that cycle. In this county, if it's got to stand on its own, we are bigger than we can afford to be right now. Just like if you overspend in your personal budget, like Vince Facilities did, you had to file bankruptcy, right? Or personal, you have to file personal bankruptcy. But most people, rather than file bankruptcy, they curtail their spending. You know what? They don't go out. Yep. They drop some luxury products off their life. Say, well, I'm not going to spend so much. I'm not going to eat lobster. I'm going to eat bologna. These are the things that normal people do.
Bologna's still $6 a pound.
Yeah, bologna's not cheap either, right?
But anyways, the other thing is I believe South Union did most of their building of the trail that goes through South Union on their own. I think
they got so tired of waiting on the county and that empty promises. We missed the boom. Now I do hope that we get a system of trails built. It'll be nice because that's the only one's going to be able to afford. They're not going to be able to afford to drive a car. You're going to have to run a bicycle to get around.
But I'm understanding.
We're going backwards. Maybe they'll let horses on the trail. Yeah. We can get horses. This county is moving backwards fast, and it's real clear what they need to do. They got to quit spending. You're not going to fix anything till you quit digging. And their only option at this point is to make cuts. And if they don't make cuts, guess what? The state's going to come in. These commissioners get paid. You could argue a lot or not a lot, but they're paid. They took the job. They got voted in. They have a responsibility to get this budget under control. Just borrowing more money isn't any kind of a solution, and spending more. That's a solution. That's so against just common sense government. Democrat or Republican, you just can't keep spending.
It don't matter whether you're a Democrat, or Republican, or independent. You
still got to pay those taxes.
Taxes is going to go up.
Hamburger costs the same. If you go up to the butcher and you say, "Hey, I'm a Democrat," you're paying the same amount for steak or hamburger as anybody else, right?
But it depends on if it's a. But anyways, you're right. We need to take the McDonald's approach. You pay before you get your hamburger.
Right.
That's what we have to do.
This spending, and for us to be a debtor county like this, it's always been tougher in Fayette County. It's always been kind of down compared to some of the other counties. But they're taking us to an all-time low. We're taking us right over the cliff here.
Well, I was in Butler County for the mega Patriot, banquet, soiree, whatever you want to call it, Christmas party. And I'll tell you what, it was over the top. And these people were talking about looking forward. And that's what I said at the commissioners' agenda meeting today. We need to look forward. We can't. We got to fix.
We need to look forward.
We got to fix. You can't fix broken what happened before. And it'd be different if one of the commissioners was like a rookie here, and we got or just got elected. But this is happening over and over and over again. And
it doesn't work. It's the exact definition of insanity. They keep doing the same thing over and over, and they, at least they tell us we're going to get a different result. But the voters have to hold these accountable. Now's the time. We have one commissioner that's vowed that he's not going to vote for the budget, and he even voted no against putting it even on the agenda.
Yeah.
Let's get to that meeting, and let's sway one of these other two, Vince Facilities or Scott Dunn. I would imagine that the Republican candidate would be easier to convince that this is not the right path. This massive amount of spending, but Vince too. I mean, tell them your personal stories. This disproportionately is going to affect our seniors, which is the bulk of our population. Which they're the bulk of the property homeowners. Yeah. The kids don't own homes around.
Well, we're gonna watch these appointments on all these boards very closely because there's a couple of North Fayette Water Board is they're wanting to put an appointment of the commissioners will appoint somebody on there. So we're gonna watch that one. We're gonna watch all these appointments that they go through because it's time we get some people on some of these boards that really will be willing to stand up and help out the county, and that's what we need. I mean, I'm on a board and we've never had a meeting. It's 3 years.
Yeah, raising and you're on an important. I mean, it has a big title, right? The Industrial Development Board. They don't have meetings. They haven't had a meeting in 3 years.
3 years.
This is what I'm saying.
I mean, I thought we'd have a meeting, at least get together and have a cup of coffee. We have but we have the ability to go after private money for the county. That's one of the biggest things we could do, and it's been. And actually, Vince Facilities even said this is a board that has been underutilized.
I guess in 3 years you don't have a meeting.
Yeah.
So really, this is a lack of. This is a lack of leadership in the county. Right. The other thing that commissioners have to do, they have to start holding Fayette accountable. I mean, they've even come on this radio station and say, we're working on this, we're working on that. And they do a lot of PR spin. But frankly, that organization does not open its meetings to the public. They've just had a huge scandal that they swept under the rug. The executive director's gone under mysterious circumstances. They haven't come clean with the public as to what happened there. We know that they've got these big projects going around the county that appear to just benefit private individuals, and even going down to the Stinky Bridge project that we joke about. But that's really a horrible thing that they've done down in Collinsville, pursuing that when the county's in this kind of financial trouble. They're spending all of our resources focused on getting these pie-in-the-sky grants to benefit a very select few number of people, some of which who work for the county. Which we're going to get into all that later.
Yeah, we're studying that pretty hard. We'll get to where we need to be. We're close.
Right now, though, people, I've seen it happen before. I've seen masses of people show up at meetings, and I've seen commissioners change their mind. And we have an opportunity on Thursday at 10 o'clock at the Gallatin Bank building to show up for the commissioners meeting. We put a post on the WMBS feed of this show. There's a post up. You can help stop the tax hike. If you know these guys personally or voted for them or supported them, reach out to them. Call in favor. Say, guys, make some cuts. I mean, this is as plain as the nose on your face. This is what we have to do.
We got a lot of. I will tell you this. It looks like the numbers on this poster that we put up stop the tax hike. We're over 5,000. We're on our way probably. We'll be at 10,000.
Right, but we need people. Don't think that we can't do this by ourselves. Yeah. You know what I mean? We both have tried to run for commissioner and weren't successful. But so we need your help
for sure.
Well, we don't. Yeah, that's others, right?
Sure. They count the votes like they take care of the money in Fayette County.
Right.
We're definitely proving things here right now.
Yeah. But listen, folks, this is up to you. Call them, come to the meeting, tell them your personal story. I mean, they are human beings. They're not that horrible of guys. They're just misguided. This is a completely wrong approach. They've got their blinders on to this somehow. And that happens sometimes when you're in government and you're trying to pay. You don't think about, hey, wait, we really need to trim something. It does stink to let services go.
Guys talking about it, nobody would know about it, and they would be sneaking it in under the dark of night here.
Well, they did sneak. They totally snuck the $15 million loan in, the bond loan, because what happened there was we went to attend the meeting, and there was no meeting. They canceled the meeting at the last minute. They moved it. And now John was at that, and then they followed up with another meeting. And the only person from the public there was me. I mean, John was there, but he is a county official. Yeah. But I was the only member from the public there. You've got to come out. I mean, you just can't let them get away. This is why we need a good newspaper You know, the Herald Standard used to be that paper at one time. These newspapers that we had and the Trib, they would get in and cover these articles and explain this kind of corruption and this kind of mismanagement of funds. We are desperate. You know, we just got the radio and our little radio show, and we, you know, John buys this time. You know, and
one of the things that I will say is that the Connellsville Courier was there today to report. There was a gentleman from the Courier, and he assured me that he would be there Thursday. On Thursday also.
Taking the video?
No.
Next to me?
On Thursday, the WMBS is gonna televise or actually do the feed on Facebook, and it's going to get shared all over the place. Believe me, it is going to get shared all over the place. We're gonna, it's probably going to go up to like 45 or 50,000 people by the time we're done.
But we got to get ahead of this. Like we can change it. We don't want to come back and say, well, we tried, the taxes went up, and everyone's mad at the commissioners. We can change their minds if we have enough people there and they understand that they are. You know, that they work for us. We're the sovereign. They're the servants. And they'll understand that when everyone shows up. Yeah. They've done it before. They've flip-flopped, and they just got to realize, and they got to realize they're wrong on this, and they can see that by numbers.
Well, I think there's a real optimism in the air with Christmas. And again, like I said, we have a new president who wants to let us keep more of our money. My son works at Heartland, and he's recruiting 2 young gentlemen to come in, but they're waiting until January 20th because there's no tax on tips.
Oh, I gotcha.
You know, with that incentive, and that's an optimism here that we can pass on in Fayette County, but we can't do it raising taxes.
We need to be positive. You can't, you know, what's happening, they're breaking this county to where the people from Fayette County are the ones suffering. There'll be another group of people move in.
There will be.
And that's what it seems like they're designing a county for, people that aren't here. We got to take care of the people that are here. The people that are here, we have the voice. You got to use it. Please be there if you can.
This is real important.
Thursday at 10 a.m. It's so important.
Be nice. I think it's going to be warm like today.
Well, that's good. They can open the
That'll
door
be good.
so all the people outside can hear.
Yeah. We really need a show so they understand. Oh, wait, it's not just John and Gino talking about this. They need to hear from you, everybody.
Some new faces.
They need new faces. They need new people so that they understand. Wait, this is the wrong approach.
My son's coming.
Oh, that's wonderful.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, one of the there's a lot of people going to be there. One of the things that this goes that I know this is number one priority this week. But if people would show up to these meetings and voice their, I mean, you don't have to be mean. You don't have to be. You just have to
be very respectful. Tell them your story.
Tell them what they want to hear
from the heart. You know how it's going to affect you, or
I mean, because mom and dad or you have grandparents.
Well, that's what most people are saying. Like for you, Melanie, you and your husband, it's not going to affect you, but your mother that lives down the road, it might affect her.
Right.
But you know, it won't grow. It won't help the county in the long run. That's the other thing. It's you give a drug addict more drugs, they just do more drugs until their eventual demise. This is what we've just got to cut. Enough's enough. They just have to stop. This needs to be the line in the sand. They've just got to start cutting expenses. We got one commissioner that's willing to do that. And
so we just need one more.
We just need one more. We're not, it's not like we got to swing all 3 of them. We just need one of the 2.
The other one will call the.
And you know what? I got to say, I was also. It was nice to see Charity Grimm at the agenda meeting.
That's one of the things I was just going to say. Charity Grimm was there today. She made her presence known, and I tell you what, it was good to see her there.
She's working hard at the state level to do what she can, but we need at the local level. We need people to step up, and then we need them to do the right thing.
She was the only. Level. I mean, you'd have thought the other 2 state people would have been there. You'd have thought Hyde and Ron Warner would have showed up.
Well, I think that I think Charity understands this is an important issue.
It is.
This isn't just this affects everybody. If you're in business and you're taxing the citizens additional, that's 28% less money they have expendable income to go and shop in your store or to buy your service or to eat out or whatever it is.
Well, I mean, there are states that don't have no property taxes at all. None.
Right.
And I don't understand why in Pennsylvania we have.
It's already unfair that our seniors that don't have any kids in school, they have to keep funding like education, and they got to keep funding the county. They just never get a break. And in Fayette County, we have a really high population of older
Once
folks.
once you get to 62 years old, you shouldn't have to pay school tax. I mean, there
Right,
should be
right.
no reason for you to pay school tax.
And nobody at any age should be paying county tax at the high rate that we are. For the limited services we get, come on.
I mean, it isn't like we have swimming pools, and I mean, it isn't like we have all these great things. I mean, we don't. I mean, this is a debt service that we're
These
taking
commissioners have doubled the budget in less than 10 years. About 10 years, it's doubled. It can't double again. So you got to stop it. The framework has to be restructured. You have to cut this thing out at the roots.
You can see, Gino, it went from $7 million to $15 million now. So
just in loans.
Just in loans.
The need, and we got to start paying our employees better. That you know what, to do that, you're going to have to make cuts. You have to cut some.
I tell you what, that's one of the things I say all the time. I'll tell you what, I really am against all this. I think our seniors need a break in taxes, and I don't understand why right now I'm the only elected official that's aggressively pushing this. I don't
We need
understand
them
why
all.
they're not
Right.
all on board, why they don't see what this is doing to our county. I just don't understand why they're not stepping up and saying, you know what, enough is enough. Everybody needs to have that Popeye moment where we open up the spinach can and we start taking care of business. And I'm not talking
Right.
about beating people up. I'm
Just
talking
doing the
about
right thing.
Just doing the right thing. It's time to take care of this. I mean, we've went too far. And you got, just like down in Cornersville, that park down along the river, it's a beautiful thing. I mean, Gino, how many times did you see me down there this year?
Listen, yeah, right. But I'm going to tell you something. Most of it's artificial. The hotel down there, it only exists. It filed bankruptcy, so it's already. It wasn't a viable thing on its own. Private development. It was subsidized. Everything else that you're seeing built up in Collinsville is subsidized. Now, at some point, maybe those subsidies will turn around. But I can tell you, all those millions of dollars of grant money are just going to benefit a few individuals. Yeah. It's not going to be for the many.
Any of the bikers stay in that hotel? No.
Yeah, well, a few, but we transported a lot of bikers a little bit ago. It was just too much. Bikers, that's not what they're just not big spenders as a whole. If it were just for the bikers, that hotel couldn't exist. But it does have other revenue streams. But it is nice. I mean, hey, bike trails are nice, but it's not an economic driver in the sense it's going to straighten out the county. It's not an economic driver that's going to bring your taxes down. That's only going to happen through manufacturing and private investment. Yeah.
I mean,
you can only do so much government handouts.
We made glass in South Cornersville for how many years, and we kind of let that leave us. Mm-hmm. We did. Right now, Heartland is begging for people to come to work.
We should take at least half the energy we've been putting into all these trails and these big PR projects, and like our overinflated recycling unit that has generated no real income for the county. And we focus that kind of energy and money, time and effort and resources on bringing in manufacturing, we'd have it. And the fact that FAPEN hasn't done a better job or a transparent job, those guys need their feet held to the fire. They're paid to develop this county. Where's all those millions of dollars? Now, I don't want to see these crazy reports and job things. I want to see the fruit. Yep. Good tree produces good fruit. A bad tree produces bad fruit. We got bad trees. We got to root them out and we got to replace them.
I just think we got to do something. We got to get people. We got a big empty building up there, and I can't figure out why we can't get somebody here to manufacture. But we know why we can't, because everybody's got their hand out too far.
Everyone's got their hand out, exactly. And that has got to stop. And, right now, though, we can hold the line on these taxes. It's up to the individual people. I know it's hard. I've got texts from folks that are taking off work. I got texts of, thank goodness I'm off. I'm going to be at the meeting. So other people are going to make the sacrifice. If you can, please do. And let these commissioners know enough's enough.
Yeah, you can do a little shopping, take a personal day, do a little Christmas shopping in Uniontown, come to the meeting.
Right, swing by the meeting, say your piece.
Yeah, it'd be a good thing. Get something to eat. Yep. Support the restaurants in Uniontown, downtown Uniontown. Support these people. Stop at the fire department, give them a donation. Everybody needs a little bit of help right now, so let's go ahead and do whatever we can do. I guess we got less than a minute left. Believe it or not, Gino, it's been a busy day.
And we keep reminding people about this meeting. I sure hope they attend.
Yeah.
I'm believing that they will.
If everybody that called me comes in twos, the bank building is going to be nowhere near big enough. So let's hope for it. Anyways. Well, on this road called life, you have to take the good with the bad. Smile when you're sad, love what you got, and remember what you had. Always forgive, but never forget. Learn from your mistakes, but never regret. People change. Things go wrong. Just remember, the ride goes on. God bless each and every one of you, and God bless America. I am John Marietta, and I am the Hillbilly.